So this is the beginning of our common sales mistakes series. Common sales mistakes, these are some concepts from a rather famous sales trainer named Steven Schiffman. He's done sales training for companies like AT&T, Motorola, and US Health Systems. These concepts are for any sales process out there, and with the changes in the health insurance industry and the consumer base that's looking for health insurance expanding so quick due to the ACA, it's important that we make all these small tweaks to our process so we can maximize every opportunity. So the first one is a really interesting one. Within our industry, this one is very pertinent. It's not being obsessed. So it's a mistake for not being obsessed. And by obsessed, I don't mean working 18 hours a day and not sleeping, but more of giving it 110% day in and day out. We're self-employed people. We work for the world's worst boss. It's ourselves. But we also need to make sure we are working when we're there. You should be obsessed with knowing everything you can about the industry, obsessed with helping clients find the right products. Like we talked about, we are solution sellers, we are problem solvers. You should be obsessed with finding that solution. Health insurance is a hard industry because no two companies like to play the same game the same way. And you have to learn the ins and outs of so many products to be successful. But really, when you're successful, the payouts are they're insurmountable. You should also be obsessed with your daily routine and know what you're going to do to have directions. You should really be waking up, knowing what you're doing instead of just sitting down, turning on a computer with that kind of what's next concept. You should know what you're doing and create that to-do list so you know what needs to get done. Every day you should have that to-do list and you should have things that you can check off. I personally use Windows Notepad. It's great. It's on your computer. I just delete the things as I go for my daily to-do list. You could also be using Agent Cubed out there. I know that's a new platform that is really helping agents get their lives organized with that to-do list. Another thing to do on being obsessed is keeping your energy and motivation up. You should start each day with a positive motivation. If you don't have a solid quote on your wall, you should get one now. You need something that tells you, yes, today is the day, and you're going to break down that closing record that you've always been striving for. If you're ever down in the dumps, you need to pick me up. We're here to help. Just reach out. We're here to kind of pick you up and get you going in that right direction. And the last one is really to have discipline. So you need to have discipline to wake up and read that quote, discipline to learn about the products, discipline to keep going, discipline to dial that 20th number after you've been told no 20 times. It's all about discipline. One of the things I'll tell you that people like to do is they kind of like to have their lives a little organized and sit down and be like, at this hour, I'm cold calling this whole hour, and my goal is to get 5 contacts. And from those 5 contacts, I want to set 2 appointments with these people. This is a numbers game. Flat out sales is always a numbers game, but you really have to have that discipline to be motivated. And if you have that, you will be successful. The second one here, it hits on our subject from about 2 weeks ago, the 3 reasons why customers don't buy. It's not listening to prospects. One of the most important things in sales is listening to what your prospect is saying, but also listening to what they're not saying. If you honestly believe in what you do and the products that you carry, and you know that you can fix these issues, you shouldn't have too much of an issue with this. One thing I notice with new salespeople is that they like to talk about themselves and how the product could work in their lives. It's really let the prospect talk. Let them have most of the conversation. We call it kind of knowledge vomiting as far as it goes in the industry. So I have all this knowledge and you need to know everything that I'm talking about. No, listen to the prospect. Let them talk. The sales process is about the customer. They should be doing the talking. You should be doing the listening. You need to pick up on the parts of their story where they may have left something out or areas where they're slowing down, because that means that they're thinking, and it's usually something that they're worried about, which means it's really important to them, and that's something you should be tying back into your sales process. But you also need to listen to those subtle cues. Did their speaking pick up? If you're face to face, are they no longer making eye contact? What in the conversation is inconsistent? Because these are points that are already on your customer's brain that you should be bringing up. The client, especially in fact finding, should be doing 80% of the talking, and you should be doing 100% of the listening, just helping guiding the conversation through open-ended questions. So another common sales mistake is not letting the client talk. Keep in mind, you're the insurance professional. You're educated. You know how things are working. You need to figure out what their pain point is. You need to listen to be successful. The third one here that we're going to talk about today is not emphasizing or empathizing with the prospect. This is kind of important because a lot of salespeople are worried about throwing numbers on the board, but not the long-term gains. If you really listen and connect and feel the prospect's problem, you won't have as many chargebacks and then you'll get more referrals. So this is really talking about why the prospect is calling, getting to the bottom of it. You need to listen to their situation and you need to actually care about it. A lot of people dread talking to salespeople and will put up their guard, but a great way to get them to knock down their guard is to just really relate and listen. Again, sales mistake number 2 comes in with sales mistake number 3 here. So keep in mind, you need to think past yourself. If you're middle-aged and you're talking to a 22-year-old, think about what it was like to be that age. If you can't relate and care, they're not going to buy. People are going through different areas of their life, and they're going to need insurance for all these different reasons. When I work with newer agents, they usually find out why the person is calling, lost their job, death in the family. And one thing I look is I try to see what their reaction is. I can't tell you how many people just say, okay, you lost your job, oh, and move on. No, you need to make this person feel like, this is the number one call of the day. One of the things in sales that you probably have heard 100 times is love the lead you're with. So love the one you're with, love the lead you're with. That's kind of the concept behind this. You need to think past yourself. You need to think with that person. You need to make sure that you're caring about their situation every time. If they're saying something, what do you think your reaction should be? If it's sad, it should be something where you react appropriately, because if you blow it off and move on, they're not going to care. The fourth one is a personal favorite, and I know as salespeople we have issues with it. We come thinking sales is it's a boxing match, and I'm going to see who I'm going to hit the hardest, and that way I'm going to win. No, that's not the case. Sales is more like dating. It's whoever can listen and pair the best wins. I can't tell you how many people get excited for objections so they can just see how big of a mallet they can pull out and hit their client over the head. Sales is not me versus you. Sales is creating a win-win situation. You match the customer's needs with the right product, you win the money. Win-win. If you want to create the positive experience, it really has to be a positive experience on both sides. So your client will have people that they want to work with. People don't want to work with people who are overly aggressive, people who don't listen, people who pressure close. They want to have a positive experience where they can feel comfortable, let down their guard. You can listen, and then you can match the product and kind of move on. Honestly, 90% of sales is you're going to let the client close themselves. This isn't a boxing match. It's not to see, who's the strongest, who can talk over the person the most, who's the biggest. No, it's really, again, it's like dating. You just need to pair it right, and it's a pretty easy process to do. And the fifth one, it's so hard now with technology, especially that technological age that we're in. It's getting distracted. And I think every salesperson gets distracted, be it from emails, IMs, people in your office, your cell phone. So when selling or really doing anything in relation to your job, give it your 100% attention. When I was selling, I'd block off the hour, do my calls. I'd put anything away that could distract me. I would completely cancel out of any instant messenger that was there. I would put my cell phone in my desk. I would not check emails when I was dialing. I'd have a sign actually on my door that would say, "Leave me alone, I'm calling." What was the result? I was consistently the top salesperson. When I was talking to a client, I would block everything out. I would kind of put those blinders on like you see on horses. This is 100% of my focus. This is what I care about. When someone's talking to me and they're spilling their life story, I'm not going to check my phone. That's just rude. So you need to turn off all distractions and let yourself focus. You're making a huge financial and health impact in your clients' lives, and they deserve at least 30 minutes of your attention. The better you focus on them and match the right product, the longer they will stay. And if they like you, they're going to have their friends come work with you too. People work with people that they like, and they don't like people who aren't paying attention to them. I know it's hard to block everything out, but you really need to. They do deserve 100% of your attention. when you're selling.